What are the things necessary for life in a city to continue in an orderly manner? Energy, that is, electricity, water, food supply to the city, schools, hospitals, factories, postal and cargo services, sanitation workers and vehicles, sewage system, and all of these being managed by the municipality. In terms of all these aspects on Earth, which is the most perfect city? There are a few cities where life flows smoothly and flawlessly. But the most magnificent cities are not the ones built by humans. If the cells in the human body, instead of being alive, were like bricks made of stone, what would happen with such cells? We would only be a statue of stone. We couldn't be alive. Could such a structure move? No, it couldn't. Could it walk? No, it couldn't. The human body is not built with such lifeless bricks. Each of our cells, that is, our brick, is a living being. That's why we walk, run, think, and can show sudden reflexes. All the properties of this stone brick are written on this piece of paper. It all fits on one A4 sheet. All the properties of a human cell known so far can only fit in this book. It fits in a 1,600-page book. This book was written by the most important scientists in the world in molecular biology. Thousands of academic articles, experiments, and observations were used while writing it. The brick of a human, that is, the cell, is this complex. Humans have eyes, a heart, a stomach, and intestines, ears, and a nose. Man is a unique work of art, but the art in the cell, the building block of this work of art, is even more complex than all of this. There are even more magnificent structures in the cell. And because humans are built with these incredible cells, they are perfect and an unreplicable being. The cell's structure is like a small city. These are cell illustrations. Just like a city, each cell is like a separate municipality. It has boundaries like this. The cell membrane is a living layer made of fat molecules. It has gates, sensors, and receptors. Orders arriving from the brain via hormones reach the sensors located on the cell membrane. From there, signals are sent in the form of signals to the cell's brain, which is the nucleus. These orders can command the cell to move, divide, or even die. They provide border security. There are special receptors. They resemble these. These allow nutrients to enter. Security guard robots don't let harmful substances in as long as they are strong. What is the most important thing in a city? It's the city hall, the governor's office. In a cell, it's the nucleus. This is the brain of the cell. It's where the cell's software, DNA, is located. In each of our cells, there are 3 billion such base pairs. Next is our city's power plant. This is an external combustion engine. There is no energy production at the moment. I'm igniting it. The pistons start moving. This is a live engine right now. It's producing energy, and a tiny light bulb is lighting up. Imagine a city where the power is out. Everything stops. The power plant in the cell is the mitochondrion. The power plants in the cell are thousands of times more complex than this. There are tiny power plants in every cell. They produce ATP energy, and there are hundreds of these power plants in every cell. About 200 in fat cells, between 1,000 to 2,000 in liver cells. The number of mitochondria in muscle cells can reach up to 5,000. Because the most energy is needed there. This 3D printer creates lifeless objects by melting plastic. It produces inanimate objects. There are factories with similar functions in the cell. It's similar, but not so lifeless. It's similar, but not as lifeless as those. Ribosomes are living robots, a factory that produces proteins. This is the most magical spot in the cell. The factories we know generally manufacture a single product. The ribosome, however, manufactures 20,000 different products. Whatever the cell needs, it's produced here. There's a cargo service in the cell. There are vehicles called kinesin, dynein, and myosin. They take the formula for whatever needs to be manufactured from the DNA in the nucleus and bring it here. And the ribosome requests raw materials from the carrier robots, according to that formula. Transfer RNA collects and brings the necessary amino acids. So, how many of these 3D printers are in a cell? There are at least 10 million of these factories in each of our cells. It's hard to even imagine. Millions of 3D printers. Let's say my hand is bleeding. Blood-clotting protein is needed. In such cases, ribosomes, factories line up one after another and mass produce, like this. This form of production is called polyribosomes, or polysomes. Endoplasmic reticulum is like the logistics center of the cell. We can think of it like this. The granular or ribosomal endoplasmic reticulum is connected to the cell nucleus as convoluted platforms. It has ribosomes, like cereal production facilities, on its surface. Proteins produced in the ribosomes are processed in the endoplasmic reticulum. The completely produced proteins are packaged in vesicles and sent to the Golgi apparatus. The Golgi apparatus is like a post office. Sent from the endoplasmic reticulum, proteins arrive at the Golgi apparatus. Proteins undergo functional changes and are labeled in the Golgi apparatus. Then, they are enclosed in a thin membrane and sent to their destination. Besides this, the Golgi apparatus also has a function in the renewal and repair of the cell membrane. When a malfunction occurs in the Golgi apparatus in cells, diseases such as cystic fibrosis and Alzheimer's can arise. The most important job of every municipality is the cleanliness of the city. This is how we represent the lysosome in the form of trash cans. The lysosome is not that simple. It contains 60 different chemical digestive enzymes. Waste inside the cell, damaged or worn out old organelles, are digested and destroyed here. This process is called autophagy. Let's say a harmful microorganism enters the cell. The lysosome immediately takes action. Receptors at the cell boundary ring the alarm bell. First, the microorganism is wrapped in a membrane. The lysosome merges with the formed vesicle and transfers its enzymes into the vesicle. Then, digestive enzymes break down the microorganism. The last step is removing waste from the cell. Digested microorganism waste products are released outside the cell in this way. If lysosome functions are insufficient, some diseases emerge. The most important of these is Tay-Sachs disease. This disease has symptoms like muscle weakness, difficulty moving and swallowing, loss of vision and hearing. As we age, brown spots appear on the skin, especially on the hands and face. What is the reason for this? The reason is that the lysosome cannot fully perform its function. Substances that the lysosome cannot digest accumulate without being broken down. If these spots have appeared, it means that the lysosomes in our cells cannot digest all the waste and cannot recycle it. This is like a mini paper shredder. In our cells, the proteasome works like a paper shredder. Let's say this is a problematic protein. The proteasome breaks it down into amino acids. The lysosome was digesting large organelles. The proteasome, on the other hand, breaks down proteins into amino acids. It recycles proteins that have completed their tasks. These amino acids then become the raw materials for other proteins. If the proteasome doesn't work, protein debris accumulates. The system becomes clogged and starts to break down. Inefficient functioning of the proteasome leads to Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and some types of cancer. That's why scientists are developing drugs targeting the proteasome. The cell is not just made up of these organelles. There are dozens of biological processes happening every second in a cell, and hundreds of hormones and enzymes play a role in these processes. For example, this is the process related to cell growth, division, and differentiation. This is the process of insulin hormones signal transduction within the cell, glucose uptake, and regulating metabolism. Transport of molecules within cells in vesicles. Genes related to energy production. Autophagy, the actors of the recycling process. Protein networks that shape the cell, provide support, and regulate cellular movements. Regulating cellular movements. The cell is such a work of art that thousands of scientists are studying it. But its mystery is still not completely solved. There are scientists who have dedicated 40 years to studying the cell, and 93 of these people have received the Nobel Prize. Molecular biologist Dr. Douglas Axe describes the unfathomable workings of the cell as follows.
We turn to molecular biologist Douglas Axe.
To get an idea of the complexity of a living cell, think of a factory with thousands of pieces of machinery all working together to do some coordinated task. A cell is actually far more complicated than that factory because factories don't maintain themselves. People have to maintain factories, and factories certainly don't make new factories. Whereas with a living cell, all the parts that wear out are automatically remanufactured within the cell. Not only that, the cell is manufacturing a new cell as well. Human-made factories don't even come close.
What if we didn't talk about a power that makes millions of robots in our body work in perfect harmony to serve us? Then we would have to assume that each of these millions of organelles has the consciousness of a human being. Even if we accepted that, we still wouldn't be able to explain how these millions of robots operate in harmony. What if the human being weren't this unique work of art, but just a statue made of ordinary stones? Could we ever explain such a stone statue without an artist?